What was your most awkward, ha ha ha, oh wait you're serious moment? Was at work. I work in retail. And me and my coworkers heard a loud boom. But we didn't think anything of it. 5 minutes later, an older lady who is in the store almost every day, maybe in her S0s-60s, came up to me and said, I just drove into your building. Looked at her, and right before I began to laugh out loud, I realized she actually dick. I was taking a long leg cast off a kid about 25 to 3 years old. After I get the cast split open and pull it off, mother says, oh, his toe fell off. I'm like, hey, nice one. The kid was in the cast because his small toe had been nearly amputated and reattached. The doc was hoping what tissue was still connected would be enough to vascularize the distal portion. It wasn't, and the kid's toe died and fell off. I work in a deli and we had a new older lady start. I was showing her how to display the chicken breast and she turns to me and says, I'm going to have to work up to the chicken. My ex used to tie me up and hit me with raw chicken breast. This was so shocking and out of the blue I assumed it was a joke. Nope, turns out she had just gotten out of an extremely abusive relationship. I just thought she was grossed out by raw chicken. Someone once said to me, wait, you're Chinese? I always thought you were Asian. Met a guy, and I told him my name. He said, he'll probably not remember it, I have memory problems, I said. Haha, yeah, I'm bad with names too. Met him again 2 days later. And I remembered his name. He, on the other hand, didn't remember meeting me. And when I realized it wasn't a joke, and was told by his mother that he actually does have memory problems, I felt like an asshole. Oh well, he doesn't remember me laughing at him. I posted this before, but I was on a first date with a guy the first met at work and things are going good. His phone starts ringing and he tells me to be quiet because it was his wife. A man was regaling his fellow partygoers with his drunken jokes. He described being found as a newborn in a field after his teenage mother hid her pregnancy and gave birth at home. All he knew about her was she was a Waffle House waitress. We sat there, enthralled, waiting for the punchline, until we realized he'd moved from life of the party onto the in vino veritas stage of drunkenness. Realtor here. Buyers offered goats to sweeten their offer. My now BF and I were on our 5th date. We were out to lunch, and some toddler started throwing a squirting fit. BF and I looked at each other and I said something along the lines of, kids are the best, aren't they? Which is when he said, oh, I've been meaning to tell you. I have a daughter. We have similar humor styles, so I started giggling thinking he was teasing. He was not, so that was interesting. This one girl asked me if 9/11 really happened on 9/11 or did the news and others say it happened on 9/11. Because it sounded more legit than any other day. On Wednesday, a customer asked me why our produce section was so empty, especially in terms of stuff like lettuce. I told him that it was because of extreme weather in Spain, where we source most of our stuff from. He cut off my explanation with, why does it matter what's going on in Spain? We're in Scotland. An old roommate wanted me to start paying more in rent because he was trying to save up to buy himself a house. When my daughter said she had been stung by a bee and it went all of the way through her, it turned out she had been stung on the chest and back at the same time. When I was 18, I went with my then girlfriend to Las Vegas to meet her parents. We were in Florida where she lived with her aunt and uncle. I found out that her dad and mom lived in separate houses right across the street from one another for whatever reason. Which was strange, but definitely not the strangest thing that would happen that trip. Her dad came over to her mom's house to meet me, and I couldn't help but notice he was dressed in a suit. I thought maybe he was just a fancy dresser. He kept asking me questions about my family and how I felt about his daughter. He seemed to like me, and we went through the trip on fairly pleasant terms. But nothing else happened of any note. Once we get back home to Florida, my girlfriend decides to tell me that her dad thought we were corning out to Vegas to get married, and he dressed up because he was planning on taking us to get married that day. She had to tell him that we had no intention of getting married in Vegas. I asked a coworker with what his son's name was, and he answered Legolas. After 2 seconds of laughing, I realized he wasn't laughing. His son is actually named Legolas.